While 16 teams compete for the championship, the other 16 are here to compete for the championship of their own. Hello everyone and welcome to the B League for Quack's Marble Clash Season 2. There you can see the 16 coaches lined up on the podium and ready to begin this 8-event mini-series to coincide with the main league. You can see the first event will be the same as it was in the main league with Sand Moguls, where it's a very chaotic racing event, but it needs no introduction at this point. It's been run several times, but here we'll see which team can be crowned champions of it here in the B League. But now, for the Purple Flames, Wave Breakers, Balls of Water, and Gugos to get us started. Two of these teams in the main league last season, and two water teams. It's a bit of a rivalry, we'll see, but the Gugos are ahead right now, and it's the Balls of Water who actually take it, and the Wave Breakers tried to make a comeback, but it could not quite materialize at the end. They started way in the back, but they made a bit of a comeback, but the Balls of Water and Gugos were just too far ahead at that point, and Combust of the Purple Flames, a bit of a surprising out for them. They were looking pretty solid, but they just rubbed against the wall a few too many times, and that will be the end of them. They will not be moving on. Nor will cutback of the Wave Breakers, and that means neither of the two teams from the main league last season will be advancing here. A bit of an upset from the Balls of Water and Gugos, but now let's move on to Heat 2 with the Jelly Jammers, Orange Fizz, Pink Palettes, and Rhapsody in Blue. This Bubble, the captain of the Orange Fizz, one of the stronger marbles here. We'll see how they fare compared to the rest. Right now, it's the Jelly Jammers with a bit of a lead over the Pink Palettes. It's going back and forth with the Pink Palettes. Will hold on for the advancement in Rhapsody in Blue. Their reserve chorus well off the pace. You can see right at the start they bang into the wall, and then they're just off camera for the rest. But Jellu, the reserve of the Jelly Jammers, doing a great job there to just stay centered, stay clean throughout the entire race. And that's really how you want to win these things. That'll be a pretty great time, I have to imagine. And the Pink Palettes did a pretty great job staying ahead of the Bubble of the Orange Fizz. You can see they got a pretty solid time, but a 3.43 will be winning this one from the Jelly Jammers as we head into Heat 3 now, with the Gigawatts, Azure Diamonds, Chili Peppers, and Avocados Hertz making their first true event debut outside of the friendly round, and we'll see how they fare here. But right now it's the Azure Diamonds with a bit of lead. Actually, the Avocados going very quickly, and the Chili Peppers narrowly hold on, I believe, for that second place spot. The Gigawatts got off to a very slow start, but Hertz made a pretty decent comeback. Ooh, look at that tackle that was made there by the Chili Peppers to make sure that they stayed in the advancement zone. The Azure Diamonds, I imagine, not going to be pleased with that move, but that's sometimes how these races can go. They get very physical with how chaotic they are, but Mole and Jalapeno will be moving on to the second round. The two fruit teams here will be doing it, and Hertz and Platinum cannot say the same, unfortunately. But now, for the Terra Titans, Positrons, Wizard Lizards, and Snow Skaters, a tale of very different fates here with two very strong teams, two last in their respective leads. Right now it's the Snow Skaters out ahead. The Positrons are close, but the Terra Titans almost caught up, but it just couldn't happen at the end. The Snow Skaters and Positrons, the two that I mentioned getting last in their respective leagues last season, they will be the two moving on here. The Terra Titans looked like they had it and then just banged into the wall so many times at the end. It just wasn't happening. The Wizard Lizards also came close, but look at that right at the end. The Wizard Lizards just snatching that third place spot. They will not be moving on, unfortunately, but not a very large gap between second and fourth, really, but Surf of the Snow Skaters pulling off a dominant win there. That's a bit surprising for the Snow Skaters. Not usually one of the stronger teams, but a lot of blue here in the bottom half of the results, with Hertz of the Gigawatts getting best of the rest. Bubble, the captain of the Orange Fizz, doing a pretty solid job to take 10th place. But now we move on to the semifinals. The Balls of Water, Pink Palettes, Avocados, and Positrons here for semifinal 1. And they're off. It's the Pink Palettes with a narrow lead over the Balls of Water. The Avocados are close, but it's just not going to happen. That was pretty much a photo finish for the lead there. Of course, both the Balls of Water and the Pink Palettes guaranteed they will be moving on, but look at how close it got. The Pink Palettes looked like they had it, and then they drifted to the side a bit. It's hard to say who won that between those two. We'll have to look from this angle, and looking at it, I believe the Pink Palettes just barely held on, but it's really tough to call. The Positrons well off the pace there, more than half a second behind Mole of the Avocados, but it will be the Pink Palettes and Balls of Water moving on here, separated by 100th of a second. And now for semifinal 2 of the Sand Moguls, Gugos, Jelly Jammers, Chili Peppers, and Snow Skaters. 3 of these teams relegated last season, and at least one of them will be going to the final in the first event here. The Snow Skaters have a narrow lead over the Gugos, and it's really going to be those two all the way to the end. The Gugos put up a good run, but they just could not quite catch up in the end. And the Chili Peppers, look at that, they were way behind all the way until the very end. They tried to get around the Jelly Jammers, but Jellu, the reserve, did an excellent blocking game, guaranteeing that they can get every point they can, and sometimes that's what it takes. The Snow Skaters just barely take the win here. Look at how close that was between them and Gel of the Gugos. But by a 100th of a second, once again, Surf of the Snow Skaters will be taking the win in semifinal 2. That means they will be moving on. That will be their first top 4 finish in any event, if I'm not mistaken. But now we can see the 5th through 8th results. Jellu, the reserve of the Jelly Jammers, getting best of the rest. alongside their fruit rivals, the chili peppers and avocados. But now, for the final, with the Balls of Water, Pink Pallets, Snow Skaters, and Gugos, and several of these teams a bit surprising, but we'll see who wins. The Balls of Water have a bit of a lead. Now it's the Pink Pallets. Oh, but they hit the wall, and it's going to be, I believe, the Gugos. It was very close between those three, but the Pink Pallets, what a choke there. They had the lead all the way until that moment right there where they just bang into the wall, and all the other three go right by, disappearing 13 points going away in the blink of an eye there. But look at that. Oh, just how close it was. The Gugos will be holding on for the gold, I believe, and the Balls of Water will be taking the silver. The Snow Skaters getting their first ever medal here in Sand Moguls. But the Pink Pallets have to be devastated after a finish like that. But Gel of the Gugos will be taking the gold here, the first time the Gugos have won anything outside of the friendly round. But the Balls of Water will be taking the silver medal here, and Surf of the Snow Skaters getting the bronze. A really surprising podium all around with two formerly relegated teams. Even the Jelly Jammers doing pretty solidly, and the Gigawatts not too bad either. So those teams do not want to get relegated a second time. But it will be the Wave Breakers, Purple Flames, Azure Diamonds, and Rhapsody in Blue starting in the bottom four. Of course, last season only one of the initial bottom four got relegated in the end, so there's still plenty of time for things to change. But for now, we'll see as the Gugos lead the standings into Event 2, which for the B League will be the hurdles. But before that, we head back to the main league for balancing. So stay tuned, and thank you for watching.